You talk to them about school, they say, "Where's your club World Cup?" Don't bother talking football with them. Because as for football, they say they are the kings of the world for the next 4 years. The irony of winning this tournament and calling yourself or being crowned king of the world is that it happened in America, you know. The team whose various sports call themselves world champions when they win stuff. The irony. Yeah, Jamie Ty is here. Yeah, what's good?
Oh,
Charlie.
Cool things.
So, Club World Cup, I don't know, man. For a competition that had everybody complaining about it, I mean, very polarizing competition. Some said it's the worst thing that's happened to football. Some people said it was great. I mean, if you ask Chelsea and PSG, both have walked away with something close to about $100 million in all with regards to prize money or competition money that has accrued. First question, before we even get into the football that was played, has this competition been a success?
Yes, it has been a success. It has been a success. I mean, I paused because it's the first edition, and so there were some hiccups with getting people to buy into it.
Yeah.
First things first, and secondly, the location of the competition came up with some questions because you look at the atmosphere surrounding the games. It's not what we are used to in this part of the world, especially for a grand competition as this. I mean, imagine hosting this competition with the likes of Real Madrid, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Juventus, Chelsea, Manchester City, all these big clubs.
Big teams came.
Imagine hosting them in, forget about Europe. Imagine hosting them, all these clubs in, let's say, South Africa or Morocco.
Okay.
You can imagine how vibrant the ambience would be. Yeah. But it wasn't necessarily the same as in the US. And so it came up with a bit of questions. And you also had to look at the ticket pricing and all, how FIFA continuously slashed the ticket prices because the demand wasn't necessarily there, and so it brought about some questions. Then you have to look at the weather. I mean, you can looking at, and that's where there was a bit of disappointment because it's not like the US do not have the infrastructure to deal with weather issues. It's just that FIFA were a little bit tone deaf when it came to the health of players and people who were involved in the game in real time. Because if you are hosting a competition like this in the summer period in the United States, why would you have games being played in a place like Miami around 4 p.m.? It doesn't just make sense. The southern states, you shouldn't host any game before 7 p.m. That's US time. But FIFA came up with the reason that they wanted to pick a time or time periods where it will be universally acceptable for fans to view the game. So if it's 3 p.m., let's say if it's 7 p.m. in Ghana, which is 3 p.m. in the United States, if you are playing on the east side of the coast of the United States, it will be 7 a.m. in, let's say, Australia, which is okay for a game. But the thing is, if you are hosting a game like we had Chelsea and PSG playing at 3 p.m. in New York in the middle of the summer period, it's not the best. It's not the best. So the timing and the scheduling was a bit of a problem. And even if you are going to host it at 3 p.m., then you should pick locations that have roofing. So if you pick the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, for instance, it has a roof over the stadium. You can cover it and manage the weather. The Mercedes-Benz arena in Atlanta, it also has a roof. So in those circumstances, FIFA could have done better, but they disappointed a little bit in that regard, and that's what led to people, pushing back a little bit. including the players. But other than that, I think it was a very well organized tournament. And now that the first edition has taken off, yeah, I'm pretty sure the subsequent editions will be great. So
Nice.
I'm all in for the FIFA Club World Cup.
Nice. I like the fact that you touched on various aspects that culminate in making the tournament great. So when you talk about the crowds, there were a lot of concerns about numbers, lack of attendance. So
yes,
let me give you a few.
Especially when we started,
Yep.
when the competition started, this just came to mind.
Yeah.
Especially when the competition started, you had several empty seats.
So
So
the lowest attendance was 3,402. Mamelodi Sundowns and Ulsan.
Yep.
That was the lowest. 4 matches failed to get 10,000 fans. Lowest being 3,402, like I said. But there were also 15 crowds of 60,000 or more. 15 crowds of 60,000 or more, with the highest being 80,609 on the day PSG beats Atletico Madrid 4-0 in Pasadena. Now, Pasadena Stadium is the Rose Bowl, and the Rose Bowl, I believe, is the stadium
100,000.
is the stadium that hosted
Real Madrid and Man United in a preseason
in
game.
fact, even 1994, USA 94,
Yeah.
the Rose Bowl was there. So,
Yeah.
like you're saying, and it's a very open, old-fashioned type stadium. And Pasadena is a very hot place. So
It's in California.
So you can imagine.
It's in California.
It's
and
just,
in July,
Yeah.
in June.
it's just crazy. So the average attendance, according to the stats, says the average attendance was 38,369, which is below that of any World Cup since Chile 1962. So for those of you who are numbers crazy, these are some of the this thing. Now, some of the reasons given for the low attendance is funny. Now, reasons given were: 1, kickoff times, mainly middle of a weekday; 2, ticket prices; weather and concerns about immigration and customs
It's true.
enforcement raiding games.
Yes, it's true.
This is crazy.
It's true, and people didn't pay particular attention to it. But where the communities that have soccer crazy fans
A lot of migrant communities.
you have a lot of migrant communities, and so if you are cracking down illegal immigrants,
which has been the thing in California
Yes.
in the month preceding.
and even in the south, all
Yeah.
the southern states, Miami, Dallas, Houston, all of those places, if you are cracking down on illegal immigrants,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm settled in my corner, but at the end of the day, a close friend of mine is getting hunted by the ICE. A family friend of mine is getting hunted by the ICE. Do you think I will really be in the perfect or the right frame of mind to come and sit in the hot sun and watch Sundowns play Ulsan? Of course I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Even if it's my team, let's say Inter Miami, I would have a bit of issues dropping all this thing that's happening all around me and move over to the stadium to come and watch a game. And so yeah, it's a reason. It's a big reason why there was some low level of attendance, particularly at the start of the tournament.
I just found that hilarious. Scared of law enforcement raiding the games. I can't imagine what that would be. Anyway, let's talk about the game itself, the match proper. Chelsea completely taking PSG to the cleaners. It hasn't happened before in a long time. In fact, the last time that PSG lost a game by 4 goals, I believe, was against another English opponent in Newcastle. I think it was 4-1 how that game ended. But they will feel hard done by this defeat because they believe that they had completed English football. You know, in the Champions League prior, beat Liverpool, beat Manchester City, beat Aston Villa, beat how do you call them? So Liverpool, Manchester City, Aston Villa, supposed to be one, Arsenal, and now they have finished the slate. They were going to add Chelsea as icing on the cake, but it didn't happen. In the end, 2 Cole Palmer goals and 1 Joao Pedro goal were enough.
Of what a team sport is. The coach and his staff doing their work, and the players executing the plan. It was just a perfect harmony and a perfect combination where you could tell that Enzo Maresca and his staff really studied the film of PSG, identified the weaknesses, and transferred it to the players, and the players actually went out there and delivered. Because you look at the tactical discipline that the boys deployed on the pitch that day, the intensity, and the execution of their passes. It was just brilliant. Look at the first goal, for instance.
Yeah.
That long pass from Robert Sanchez, the goalkeeper, straight to the foot of Malo Gusto. Then you look at the second goal. Moises Caicedo retrieved the ball, delivered a pirouette, and he moved the ball one time to the right side, which is PSG's left side, in behind Nuno Mendes. Kopama ran onto the ball, and that was it. And you look at even how they played throughout the entire, particularly the first half. It was just a perfect plan that was well delivered. Even when they decided not to attack the wing areas and decided to move the ball centrally via the central spaces, look at how shifty the passing was and how quick it was. Joao Pedro, I remember the first Kopama chance that he bent it just wide of the post. It was just brilliant interplay. How they were able to shift the ball in between the PSG players, back flicks, no looks, a quick step over or two, and they running into spaces. So honestly, I was just impressed with what Chelsea were able to deliver on that day. It was just perfect, a perfect game that they played, because it came off a perfect plan that was well executed by the boys. So yeah, I think it was just it wasn't one of those days where you say, oh, PSG weren't on their day or they didn't have their day. They did have some very good chances. They played well, particularly in the second half.
Just before Chelsea scored,
that Desiree Doué
had a really good chance. I'm not sure what he was trying to do.
I think he was trying to be too cute with it. Just all three are young player of the tournament. He should have gone to Real Madrid. Young player of the tournament. He should have gone to Real Madrid's he should have gone to Gonzalo Garcia. I look at these things.
I think there's some bias for teams who make it
to the final, but it shouldn't be. That shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case, especially when the contenders were either in the final or close to the final. In Real Madrid's case, Gonzalo Garcia ended up making it to the semi-finals,
and so he was one of the top scorers as well.
Yes, and so how is it that this guy didn't make it to win the young player of the year award? Then Robert Sanchez, I mean, the final, he delivered an absolute clinic of goalkeeping. Brilliant saves all round. But he being the best goalkeeper in the tournament, I mean, come on. That for me is a little bit of a stretch, and so I was disappointed with that. But the final, it did live up to expectation. It was a brilliant game all throughout, and Chelsea absolutely nailed their execution. It was just on point. Brilliant display by Chelsea. It's very difficult to see PSG lose by 3-0 and get dominated the way they did.
And they were dominated so much they were frustrated. They wanted to throw hands.
That shows you how good Chelsea were on that day. Yeah, they were a brilliant side on that day.
It was some good stuff. Shout outs to Joao Pedro, getting 3 goals, already looking like he's been with this Chelsea team forever. I think they probably need to patch up a few shaky areas, and they should be good to go. Now they're in the Champions League. They have a Premier League to contest for. I think they should be worthy contestants of the Premier League title. I'm not sure how they themselves feel about that, but on the PSG side, I think 2 big absentees, Willian Pacho and Lucas Hernandez. Both of them picked up red cards in the quarters against Bayern Munich, and I think it had a big impact on how they defended. So they had to draft in Lucas Beraldo to play as a centre half, naturally a left wing back. He had to come and play as a centre half next to Marquinhos, and Chelsea completely took advantage of every single weakness that he had. I thought that they exploited that pretty well. I enjoyed Caicedo's display in midfield as well, alongside Reece James. So double midfield pivot of Caicedo and James, very interesting. And I would say that PSG have been served humble pie. I think they were beginning to grow wings. In fact, fans were beginning to put them on a certain pedestal. I mean, based on the performances we have seen from them. they completely smother teams, dominate you, beat you convincingly. So it was almost becoming like no team can go toe to toe with PSG. But I think Chelsea have made them human again, and I appreciate Chelsea for that. As for the celebrations, very interesting, y'all. In the celebrating of this competition, apparently Infantino told Donald Trump that you had delivered the trophy, so it's time to go. But Trump said, "No way! This is my country. When the pictures pop up 50 years from now, I need to be seen in the pictures."
He showed us a photo up.
I granted you the opportunity to do this in my country, so hey, I'm not going anywhere. The guys have won. I'm a winner too. I'm jamming with them. That was really interesting.
Yeah, Cole Palmer was even stunned. He was looking at him like, is this guy
like,
going to go? Are you leaving?
Said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here.
I mean, Trump, he is a showman, and he showed us love a good photo op, and this was a good photo op, a big opportunity for him to hog the headlines once again.
Exactly.
And so, here I am with the world champions. Yeah, go USA, MAGA. Yeah,
you know
how these things work. Yeah.
Good publicity.
Good publicity. You know? So I was a bit shocked that he did it. But if you think about Trump, I mean, he's not your orthodox politician.
No.
So he does things a bit awkward in a different offbeat way. So he doing this, it wasn't too far from the Donald Trump that we've come to know. So I wasn't too blown away, but I found it very interesting and a little bit funny. But yeah, it adds to the spice of the tournament, I must say. I mean, Donald Trump, you have to give it to the man. He always comes up with something different.
Oh, Donald Trump, just interesting. Just looking at him celebrating. Anyway, big congrats to Chelsea